Hello, my name is Chris Miller, and my content area is special education. My lesson is a cooking lesson in the home ec content area. It is designed for students of the transition level, which would be about college-age students 18 to 21. The lesson objective is to work on life skills based in the kitchen, such as kitchen safety, proper technique on how to use certain utensils, and just how to be able to cook themselves a meal and be able to feed themselves. The experience I had in researching the items was going to the Madonna transition program. I work at the Madonna school in the middle school level, and collected a variety of resources that they use when they conduct lessons like this. The thing to think about as I take you through this literary field trip is that students will need a lot of assistance while working on this assignment. Some of the questions will need to be read to them. Some of the answers will need to be given orally from the students. There might be some additional picture supplements to help the students understand what exactly is being asked, and sometimes a question might need to be explained in different words. But we will get started. So, the first thing is right here. And it's all blurry. Focus. There we go. Focused in. Spaghetti and cheese bread cooking lesson. Woot woot. Short description. So the first thing I'm going to ask them to do is to review the main recipe pages that we would use. Now these are kind of simplified versions with good pictures that will help them along as they do their cooking. Now we will be adding a few things to these recipes. If this were actually a lesson, we would add some vegetables and some spices and stuff, which is the first question. What ingredients are we adding that are not listed on this recipe? And this is to get them to identify information that is not available in the text, but that they know is there, that they already know they will be doing, they will be using. Other questions: how much butter, what's the abbreviation, and then name another recipe that you use butter in. Get them to learn those abbreviations for measurements while cooking. Just another option on how they use butter, get them thinking outside the box. And then what device did they use to drain the noodles? Learn that vocabulary. Number 2, I would give them another kind of more complicated, more homemade version of spaghetti sauce. As you can see here, a lot more detailed. As we get in close and it gets blurry and we focus. Okay. The questions I would be asking them would be like, talk about the differences between the two texts, compare the two. What do they notice is in this recipe compared to this recipe? And then just some other general questions, like what do they think they want to add to the recipe that we are making from the more homemade version? What sounds good? And then what recipe do you think they would they think would taste better, and why? Kind of gives them a chance to understand that something more complicated that might be a little more time consuming would pay off, because it would taste better. It'd be, and they might feel better about cooking it because it'd be a greater accomplishment. Now, the third question on the literary field trip, and the third text that we would run across would be the cheese bread recipe. I definitely want them to review these recipes even after they have cooked it, to catch things that they missed, to get a better look at maybe a section that they didn't have to do. Of course, these this lesson be the students broken into groups, so they might not have been doing the cheese bread, but they could still look at the recipe, which is here. Okay, comes with nice directions. Okay, list of ingredients and cooking items. Okay, pictures of each of those. And then a step-by-step instructions on how to make this cheese bread. Okay, very special education oriented. Now, I come back to the butter again, because that's a ingredient that's used across both of our food items. Just kind of get them to think about how butter is used in the spaghetti and how butter is used in the cheese bread. Kind of describe what a basting brush is for. Get that vocabulary down. And then get the temperature from the oven, and I want that in temperature and symbol format with the little circle, so they know how to write those and how to read those. Okay? Then the next step would be to visit this here website. Cooking games, featured cooking games. They would be required to play 3 of them, at least one of which has to do with pasta, but any other 2 that they want. Okay, a large variety, and this is just another way to practice on the steps, the skills, get a different way of learning how to cook and what ingredients are needed to cook. Okay, large variety of choices here. Huge variety. And as you can see, very kid-oriented, very colorful, a lot of characters that they would recognize. You got Dora the Explorer. I think Elsa. Okay, some penguins. Everybody loves penguins. Okay, large variety. They could choose any of these games that they wanted, as long as one of them has to do with pasta. And then they would be asked to describe one thing that they learned from each of those games. Very simple. Okay, and the last stop, stop 5, is this would be done all together as a class. After everyone's done with the first 4 steps, we would put on this video, and we would focus in on the blurry, as you can see there we go, the cooking part of the video, okay, which focuses a lot around kitchen safety and healthy cooking. Okay, and then they would have more questions. Kind of some safety-oriented questions, and a question around some dishwashing. A very general question. There won't be one right answer. Okay, and then the last part here is a chance for them to just summarize and reflect on their overall learning from this lesson. Now, with this lesson, I'd be most excited about the actual cooking part of it, being hands-on with the kids, seeing them be able to cook themselves a meal, being able to eat that meal, and just enjoy that process and have some fun with it. What am I most nervous about? Well, you know, kids will be using knives, so that's a little nerve-wracking. They'll be around hot surfaces, also nerve-wracking. Yeah, so basically the overall safety of the lesson would be extremely emphasized and would be closely watched by the teacher and any job coaches or paras that would be involved as well. So I believe that concluding statement. Well, my concluding statement is that special education needs to revolve around skills that the kids need to learn, to enable to live. They do not need to know how to find square roots. They do not need to know how to build anything chemically, in chemistry. What they need to know is life skills. And those lessons can be built around the curriculum that's going on in a regular classroom if it's an inclusive classroom. But they should be modified and adjusted to fit each kid's skills, each kid's needs. And they should be, again, based around life skills that the kids will need in order to live after they graduate from school. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed, and have a nice Saturday.